Hello and welcome to the show. We have got another Porsche for you today, tackling our hill climb course. This 82 Turbo is the latest reward car for the Forzathon? That's a really difficult word to say. My brain does not want to pronounce that word in a sentence. It just doesn't work properly. My brain doesn't work properly most of the time. However, yes, car 911 Turbo should hopefully be relatively good for this series. The last 911 that went up here, the 73 911, that is in a joint 10th place. So I'm hoping we might be able to go... I don't know if we'll be able to go a bit faster with this one or not, but we might be able to go kind of around that sort of area. We are, going to be, hopefully, with a decent amount of power, not too much weight. Now, we can put in the 3.6 litre flat 6. We will come back to that engine. It's a possible thing that we could put in the... Oh, we need tyres, don't we? I remember what I'm doing. I build cars on here plenty. We need some snow compound tyres. That is what we are after. We are going to get to only 245s at the front. That's not great. And 285s at the rear isn't too bad. Yeah, they're not the worst size tyres that we've had on a car. Ideally a little bit bigger, but should work for now. Interestingly, we're not even into S1 class yet, which is nice. Now, with this Porsche, there are a couple of options. I'd much rather run this front bumper. I much prefer that front bumper. I mean, that's... it's the... kind of the rough, the CTR Yellowbird-esque front bumper. Yeah, that one I like, but we're going to have to run... Well, so we have to run the Forza Aero. I want to run the Forza Aero. I need downforce. Extra downforce, more grip is good. Same goes for the rear. I would... If I was building this car for other stuff, I would put it on with that wing, but we need the extra downforce from the Forza Aero parts. We can change the rear bumper, and I probably will, because I much prefer that one. And side skirts are that variation. Sure, we'll go with that. There's sort of some options on this car. Can we get the the bigger flat 6 into it with... Oh, we can. Oh, okay. I mean, that doesn't actually put the PI by very much at all. So I'm thinking we're actually going to get quite a lot of power in this car, which is always good. We need a fair amount of power. We're going to, of course, get it on some rally suspension, get some anti-roll bars, and get the full-on race roll cage in here. Now, weight reduction... actually doesn't add a huge amount of PI, so yeah, we're going to go for that. That's not very much at all for almost £500 worth of weight to come out. Now, as per the rules of this series, if I can get the car to the top of S1 class with its standard engine, then I must keep said standard engine. Might be doable in this. We will see. Yeah, it might work. Some of the car's standard engines can get massive amounts of power. Some of them just don't gain power at all. It kind of all depends on... yeah, how they work out. This one here looks like it is going to be gaining some, up to 440. In fact, we weren't really gaining much. We weren't gaining much PI with a lot of the handling stuff. It just suddenly started jumping up massively with this. But that's not normally the way it goes in Forza, I'll be honest. Normally, handling stuff makes the PI skyrocket, and then any power stuff doesn't really make any difference. We are going to be able to get Sport Turbo. We're not quite going to go for the full, or we can't get the full Race Turbo. So we can have it single turbo, or we can have the twin turbos. Now, are the twin turbos going to be better in terms of PI? I don't know. Let's give them a try. So 551, and then we will get... we probably won't be able to get a stage of upgrade on. Oh, we can. 581. I think is slightly more than it had before. So, hold on, so that's 581. If we then go back to... conversion or aspiration, put it back to that, and then we go. We're fiddling around with parts just to kind of see how it goes. 561. So yeah, it is much better off with a twin turbo setup, which we shall then go and do. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we will have sort of the control and so on to go with it. Yeah, there we go. 581 horsepower, 2,660 pounds. Decent amount of torque as well in this car. It's always nice. Sometimes we can sneak these on because they add a bit of weight as well as power. That is not the case here. We will have a... Nope. We'll have a look just in case any of the rest of these bits will do stuff. The car's had a driveline swap, so the gearbox and so on won't be terrible. But we might as well put the race gearbox in, as it's not adding PI. Can't put the clutch in. That is going to be our Porsche ready to go. I think it's a little bit down on power fractionally than the older 911 that ran up. I think it has a little bit more torque though. Might have a little bit better in terms of tyres. It's probably going to be relatively close. I could be wrong. It could be brilliant or it could be absolutely awful. We will have to wait and see. So we are to the bottom of the Devil's Quarters hill climb with our car. I'm going to get 3 runs up this course to try and go as fast as possible. Our current leader is the BMW 507, a 155.9 that is proving to be a hell of a tough time to beat, and I don't think this 911 Turbo is going to go fast enough. However, perhaps a more interesting one, of course, is going to be against the other 911. A 157.4 is that vehicle's time, and that would be, well, that's the 10th place. So if we can go faster than that, we would have our Turbo here go into the top 10. We'll have to wait and see, though, if it is going to be doable. So far, looking quite promising, actually, from the car. Yeah, nicely does it through these first corners. There is always a little bit more grip on those opening turns as we are driving on sort of icy tarmac as opposed to the snowy dirt that we are on here. So it does always feel a little bit better for the first couple of corners, and then you get a lot of understeer through the next ones. Now the hope with the Porsche, well, having the engine at the back does put a lot of the weight over the rear wheels. Can be good for traction. Admittedly slightly less important when you have the car as all-wheel drive, but still a half-decent weight positioning for getting out of corners. Through corners, there's very little weight over the front, which means it can suffer from a fair amount of understeer at the best of times, let alone when you're doing this sort of silly thing with a car that was really designed for this kind of rallying, at least. Some 911s have gone rallying, but yeah, not quite as extreme as this particular area. I'm liking the car so far, though. There's no major problems with it that I've come across. It's not the fastest thing in a straight line. I think it's going to end up coming out quite similar to... come on now, get it around the corner. Quite similar to the Audi that went out last time. It's not massively fast in a straight line. We don't have brutal acceleration, but it's nice enough to drive, and it can carry some decent corner speed to hopefully set a respectable stage time. Come off the icy straight, no problems there for the Porsche. Across the final big jump up towards the penultimate turn. Actually dealing with the bumps quite well in this car, which is maybe a little bit surprising for a sports car. Come on, around that final corner. Right up to the wall. That was a 58.6, I think. 58.685 from the Porsche on its opening run. An okay opening run. No massive mistakes, though, on that one. I'm not sure I'm going to find some more time. Hopefully, though, we will be able to. So, on to our second run. And I need to find about 1.2 seconds if we are going to make our way up into the top 10 with this car. That might be a little bit of a tall order. I have found, that sort of time before on subsequent runs, but there was no real glaringly obvious mistakes on that first run. And I'm not sure where we can make up a huge amount of time with this car. The last Porsche that went up here, we kind of had to drive it like a point and squirt car. It wasn't very good through the corners, but it was quite fast on the acceleration front once we got around them. I'm not sure this has quite got the speed of that. I'm not sure it's got the speed to make that sort of driving style work with it. Because, yeah, we've got decent acceleration, but it's not amazing. And I'm not sure, it's just not quite going to work there. Oh, I'm trying to take quarter speed, and we haven't got the grip to do that. It's a little bit wonky through there as we head down onto this back straight. Yeah, 117 miles an hour isn't too shabby. I might have left it a millisecond or two too late to get slowed down there. 116-ish is probably where we'd get to. That's a few miles an hour down on the fastest. We're, 8-9 miles an hour down across that jump. We've seen up to 111 miles an hour as the cars have left that ramp, and we're not doing that in the Porsche. And while it's, decent enough to drive through these corners, again, much like with the Audi, it's not quick enough to be making up the time on those really fast cars through these turns. They were just as good as is through the corners, and then much quicker down the straights. And that's, I think, going to be an issue with the 911 Turbo here. Oh, we got caught on a bump as I went to try and correct for that. That's not good. Icy straight's got us. No. Bugger it. we got caught out. I said it would do very well on the bumps in that first run, and it was, but that time around it was asking a little too much of the car at some point along there, and I just couldn't gather it all back up. And the problem with the icy straight down there is that if you have to lift, if you have to brake, the run's basically over anyway, so you might as well try. If you spin like I did there, well, yeah, you're going to clonk the wall, but you might as well give it a try. Couldn't gather it all back up again. Yeah, okay, we messed up at the end of that run. The rest of it was okay, but yeah, as I said, I'm not sure where I'm going to be finding the time that I need. Well, the pressure is very much on for this final run. Let's not get into trouble on the icy straight. The rest of the course, there is actually two ice patches. I say two ice patches. There's the icy straight. There is an ice patch on the outside of the penultimate turn that I don't think I've ever found. I might have found it with one car going out there, but you tend not to find it at all. The rest of this course is relatively nice in terms of no horrendous ice patches, unlike some other roads on Blizzard Mountain. But yeah, I take a slightly different line through the final corner. I want to take a very tight line through the final corner, for the penultimate corner, sorry, so that when you get to the final corner, you can carry as much speed as possible across towards the line. It tends to be what I'm doing, so you're never really running out wide enough to find the horrendous ice patch on the outside there. Oh, it doesn't carry speed there. It doesn't carry speed there like I want it to. That's it's a little bit of a shame. If we had that bit more grip, it would be very, very nice indeed. 107. We could go out of the corner a bit better. We got 117 miles an hour, got on the brakes, and made the corner without too much trouble. Can we get any faster across this jump here? Yeah, it's about 102 miles an hour. Chuck it into the hairpin. I quite like this hairpin. It's quite a fun corner. You always throw the car into the corner before you start braking, because you can use the banking of the turn and the hill to help slow the car down. It's great fun to drive around, throwing about on these bumps. Yeah, Porsche isn't the worst car I've had across the bumps, but it's also not the best as we head up towards the icy straight. Has to be a little mindful coming across those crests. It does have a little lift, but once we got across the crests, we were flat out around the corner. Off the icy straight we come. I was a little bit too far to the inside, not quite the greatest of lines ever, but it is going to have to do for the turbo as we get it slowed down into the penultimate corner. Yeah, nice and tight on the exit. Try and smooth out this final corner as much as possible for the run towards the line. It's not that much better. We did get it down to a 58.2, I think, there, but yeah, 58.252. Yeah, it's not that much better. It is a much nicer car to drive than the 73 911. However, it isn't as quick. The 58.252 will put the car into 18th place. It beats the BMW 2002 Turbo, the C63 AMG, Nissan 240 SX, the Dodge Charger. However, loses out to the Mazda MX-5, Jaguar F-Type, Land Rover Series 3, the Porsche 718 even. We are 0.8 of a second down on the 911 RS that ran before. Yeah, a much nicer car to drive, this one. It still does have its issues getting through the corners. We do have a fair bit of understeer going on in this car. It can get oversteer as well if you're a little bit too vigorous. I think a combination of engine placement not helping and relatively small front tyres. Also, not the greatest. Acceleration is good, but it's not enough to make up for it. It's not quite as quick. And sort of at the point in squirt driving, I don't think this car is quick enough. It's just not quick enough to be able to have that as a real, full-on, viable option. A fun car. In fact, the last 3 cars I've had to drive up here have all been great fun to drive. I've liked the Audi. I've liked the what's it called, the Mazda MX-5 and so on. But yeah, well, the Audi got into 12th. This one's a little bit further down and so on. But yeah, been great fun cars. Not quite challenging the top of the table though. But there we go. That is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.